Hey everyone, Randy here from Lion Desk. We are going to give everybody about 2 or 3 more minutes here before we get started. So if you guys can just hang tight, let me know. We do have some questions, so just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Just say, can hear you, whatever in the chat messages. And again, we're going to get going here really quickly. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Glad that you can hear me. Again, we're going to start here in about 2 or 3 minutes to let everybody else get into the webinar before we get going. Hey, Mike, I got your question. Yes, this will be recorded. I'm not 100% sure if it will be sent out. I have to check with the people at My Florida Realtors just to make sure, but I am recording it, and more than likely I will be able to send this out. I hope so. Yeah, thanks for the question. All right, you guys, hey, hopefully you can see my webcam. I'm gonna go on and off camera a little bit because I'm trying to control the webinar, read the questions, and I wanna dedicate as much time to you. But again, I'm Randy from Lion Desk, and I wanna thank you guys for attending today's webinar, and I'm really grateful that My Florida Realtors was sending it out to all you guys. I think that we're going to cover a lot of great things today, talking about conversion simplified and automating the conversion process. And I'm going to try to get you guys through here in about 45 to 50 minutes at the most. So if you don't mind, like, put your phones on silent or whatever, close out your other tabs, and we'll get going. But before I do, one more thing here. I want to make sure that I got everybody's stuff here, and I'm going to shut down my webcam, and I'm going to come back at the end. So if you guys have questions, certainly be asking them, but if you don't mind holding those questions until the end, and I'm going to try to get through as many questions as I possibly can. I'm not a professional speaker or anything like that, so I want to bring as much value as I possibly can, and hopefully you guys get a bunch of key takeaways that you guys can actually use some of the information that I'm going to provide you with today. So I'm going to shut the webinar down, or shut the webcam down, and then I'm going to get started. Okay. All right. So today's webinar, again, we're talking about conversion simplified and automating that process, right? And a little bit of stuff that we're going to go through beforehand here. Let me get going. Is the agenda, right? So here are some of the topics that we're actually going to cover today. Common areas that agents struggle with. Where to go to find more leads, ways to structure your messaging to get your message across, or actually improve your conversion, right? What a blended campaign actually is, creating a modern approach to convert more leads into closing. So utilizing modern technologies to get the absolute most out of your business. advanced tips that improve your conversion. So we're going to take a deeper dive later on, about maybe halfway through, on some really advanced things that you can be doing to help with open rates on emails and conversions and things like that. And then how to deploy an actual strategy that works. So we're going to take all of this stuff, tie it together, and then kind of give you guys a little bit of a roadmap, even though all agents run their business differently, that you guys can implement or you guys can take a little bit of action on. So I hope that you guys get some value out of this today. Again, save those questions to the end. I will get through them. Hold on a second here. Yes, the audio is on. It doesn't seem to be anybody else. Everybody else seems to be hearing just fine at this point. Let me see here. Yes, audio is on. Everything is good. So we're gonna get going. Okay, so some of the struggles that agents are actually faced with, right? A lot of agents just feel overwhelmed with marketing. When you go get your license, you're learning about the business, but you're not necessarily learning about how to go get the business. And there's so many different things that you can do when it comes to marketing that it can just absolutely get overwhelming with a lot of stuff. And we're going to kind of talk about focusing your energy and efforts into one or two dedicated things and really mastering those. A lot of people just don't have the time to dedicate to all of these different things. We all get really busy with family and friends and work, and we're trying to have this like harmonious balance, and it's really challenging to do. So I'm going to show you some things to kind of help free up some of your time, right? So we're going to try to automate some of this stuff. Many people just don't have the right tools for the jobs, right? There's so many different shiny objects out there and things to help you, right? Programs like LionDesk, there's lots of things that are being set up and put in place for you guys to make your jobs easier, but people just don't know the right set of tools to choose, right? Or when creating their technology stack. Many people just lack the modern skills, and that's something that can be really, easily overcome with time and a little bit of education. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't start out being very great at, whether it's being in real estate, learning how to drive, or driving cars, right? There's all these different things that we don't know, but if we put our mind to it, we certainly can learn these things. And then that rolls me into the next part, which is a lot of people think what used to work will continue to always work. And marketing and follow-up is kind of like hitting a brick wall, right? You just keep hitting it until you have a breakthrough and something works. You test it. From there, you double down on it. You get it while it's hot, right? Or as much as you can. And then from there, things start to fade away because more competition gets there. And lastly, a lot of agents are just afraid to try anything new. And this is something that I think that as salespeople, as real estate professionals, we're always trying to help, right? You guys are trying to help people get into homes and things like that. And there's a lot of things that you can be doing to just get started to help bring more value into people's lives, right? And make a bigger impact. Things like video, right? Like a lot of people are just really intimidated by video, but the entire internet is going in the direction of video, right? So just a lot of agents are afraid to try something new, and we've all been there, right? We've all been afraid to do something, but then like once we've done it, we're like, wow, that wasn't so bad, right? I'm sure everybody here has that. So lastly here on this tab here, we're going to talk, the industry has a really high turnover rate, and to get into the top 10% of real estate agents as a national average, I think it's like 10 to 12 transactions a year, and most people don't. The turnover rate in the real estate industry is I think around 87% or something like that. And it's because somebody said, hey, you should get into real estate because you're good with people, but because they don't have a plan in place and they don't actually have that roadmap drawn out, then they just have a hard time doing all of these different things, because selling real estate is really hard, right? It's really fun, it can be very rewarding, but there's no one way to do it. There's so many different variations, right? And there's so many different things that work and don't work, and that map, there is not one specific map out there that works. And I think that that's part of the reason that the turnover is relatively high. And it really doesn't have to be that way, okay? So the two most common areas that agents actually struggle with is not how to fill out forms and all of these other things. It's traffic and conversion. And at LionDesk, we are a CRM platform, and we work with thousands and thousands of agents and brokers and teams over the course of a year. And this is what we hear on the regular. There's mega coaches out there that talk about this. The brokerages are talking about this. It's traffic and conversion. So traffic being like, how am I driving traffic to my website, right? How am I doing my lead generation? This is something that all agents tend to struggle with, is what can I be doing to get more leads more consistently, lower price leads, and how can I get more traffic on my website? The other part that they struggle with is the conversion. So now once I've got that traffic, once I've got those leads, right, what do I do with them, right? What's the process? What's the system in place that I can actually convert those leads? Or what does my sales funnel actually look like so that I can cultivate those leads over a period of time in order to turn them into buyers, and then hopefully referrals, and then from there, maybe even repeat buyers after that. So where I'm going to start is in the generating traffic. I'm going to give you some places to go where you can go to generate traffic. But first and foremost, make sure that you always know the difference between online and offline marketing, right? They're two different strategies. They have different effective rates, and there's things that you can do, and the difference between paid versus organic, right? So the stuff that you're paying for and the stuff that's free. So, organic would be referrals. Organic could be, post guest blogging or something like that on a local website. Paid is paying Google, it's paying Facebook, right? Making sure when you're creating your strategy, you know the actual channels that you're going to be using in order to generate that business or traffic in the first place. So one of the first places that everybody knows that they can go to generate leads is the portals, the Realtor.coms and Zillows and Trillias of the world. Those places, those websites have spent millions and millions and millions of dollars to get the attention of the consumer when it comes to search, and over 80% of people, when they are looking for a home, they do start that search online, and a lot of people just know about those programs. Not saying anything about the lead quality, not saying anything about the politics that go into what they're doing with the leads, but they are a somewhat reliable source of leads. Some MLSs out there we're finding that are actually creating consumer-facing websites in order to generate traffic for their agents too. I've met a handful of different MLSs that are kind of moving in that direction, which is another great place. Social media is certainly a great place to generate leads right now. Relatively low competition, I think, because a lot of people are just figuring it out, right? They don't quite understand it. They're not sure what to post. I know a lot of people that are absolutely crushing it, do 100% of their business utilizing these platforms, but there is a strategy. And I think that you can get just incredible cost per leads utilizing social media. But I think as more and more agents adopt social media, I think that will inherently drive the cost of leads up over the next 5 years. So if it's not something that you have on your scope, I certainly think that it is something you should put on there, because, again, if we think back to 10 years ago, we used to be able to buy pay-per-click clicks for relatively inexpensive, or we could buy Zillow leads for a nickel, and now they're like $30. And right now you're able to generate really high quality, low cost leads on social media. Search is certainly one of the absolute best places that you can go to generate traffic and leads. Google, YouTube, Bing, blogs, right? When people type in homes for sale in Orlando, right? Like, where do you rank? Are you on that first or second page? And you can do that both with a paid strategy and an organic strategy. The timeframes and the ROIs are certainly different, right? But search is a great way. YouTube is such a searched platform. It's really incredible. And to win in that space isn't that hard. So people surprisingly go to YouTube and they look at everything. They look at how to raise their kids. They look at what to eat. They look at workout routines. They look at how to do marketing, right? Like, YouTube is just a great source because we are typically visual learnings, right? Or visual learners. And people do go there to search out homes. So if you're not making videos and things like that and putting them on YouTube, I think that you're missing out. It's a really good opportunity, and it's pretty easy to win when it comes to hyper niche marketing, right? Again, homes for sale in this subdivision in Orlando as an example. Relationships is absolutely one of the best, if not the best way to generate business in real estate, right? This whole business is built around relationships. And the very first thing that they tell you after you go get that license is they're like, all right, well, how am I going to get the business? They're like, work your sphere, work your friends and families, right? And I've met countless people who do 100% of their business with just the relationships. They put on events, they host charity things, they sit on boards, right? They're really active in the schools, and they are just relationship, kings and queens, and that's how they drive 100% of their business. That's a great example of organic, right? And relatively offline marketing. So the cost behind that is relatively low, but you really have to be a people person. You have to be willing to put yourself out there in order to establish those really good relationships. Last but not least is mailing or snail mail. So, I mean, everybody was doing snail mail years ago, and I think that it got so saturated and it made such a low impact that the price obviously was going up, and it just wasn't getting the ROI. And I think a lot of people have scaled back over the last 4 or 5 years when it comes to mail. But I think that you're seeing a little bit of a resurgence in that, especially combining mail with modernized technologies, right? Like short codes and things like that. I think that you can actually use mail today in a really clever way to create call to actions to drive traffic to a specific place, right? So not discrediting mail whatsoever. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I think it's just how you do it. The old school, just regular handwritten letters, I don't know how those are still doing, but I know some people that are using some advanced strategies with mailing via farming and expireds and things like that to generate a lot of business. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to go out and get business and to generate traffic. And the one thing that I've learned from, it seems like all the people that I've worked with or all the agents and brokers that are just, crushing it out there is like they stick to one or two and they just master it. They get really, really, really good at one or two areas of generating business until they literally can't handle it anymore. So whatever it is that your strategy is as far as doing it, don't try to do everything because it's so hard to get it done, especially being an independent contractor and being on your own, right? Stick to one or two things and just learn it, master it, get really, really good at it. And then if it starts to work well, then just double down on it, right? Pour fuel on it and continue to extract as much traffic and leads as you possibly can out of that. And now that we've actually talked about where we can go to get some actual leads and some traffic, the next thing is actually having a plan. And this is where a lot of people, I think, have a hard time is they don't have it, right? They spend so much time and energy on that one area, and they don't actually think the actual process through of once they get these leads and they get this traffic, what is it, right? Marketing and follow-up is one of the most important elements to having a successful business. Few have a modern plan in place, and that's again kind of why they fail. So what are you going to do once you get that traffic? So you're generating traffic now from sending out postcards to specific subdivisions and Facebook. And when those leads come in, like, what is it? Do you have the map designed to help make sure that those leads have the proper follow-up, right? What are the important elements of your conversion process, right? Is it the handwritten letter? Is it the video that you send them? Like, is it you like friending them on Facebook? Like, what's important to you in that process to help with your conversion, right? What things can you do to actually convert those leads faster? So are there tips and things that you can do when leads come in that you can qualify and get them ready, much quicker? Having a long-term plan in place as well, so just making sure that you have that strategy in place for, not all leads are buyers today, right? People, don't necessarily buy houses, like every day. So having the right plan in there. And most leads are actually wasted because they actually don't ever get the follow-up, right? Like studies have shown most leads, I'm reading this from the bottom, are lost due to poor follow-up or lack thereof, right? So people are spending a lot of leads or spending a lot of time and energy to generate these leads, but then they're not actually getting the proper follow-up. Which leads me into the next part, right? And this is the conversion part. This is where we focus, right? Lion Desk, Our company, our number one priority and goal is to provide sales professionals, real estate professionals with the very best sales and marketing tools that they can get, obviously at an affordable price, to convert that traffic and leads faster, right? So to improve you really have to focus on improving that conversion process and utilize some of the best tools that you can in order to implement the strategy that we kind of just talked about that was missing. And millions of dollars are wasted every year on leads, and it's not because the leads are bad. It's because the follow-up is, right? Like NAR provides us with a lot of good stats and statistics, right? And people don't buy houses like they buy cups of coffee, like I just kind of mentioned, right? Like it's a process, you know, the sales cycle is between 4 and 7 years, depending on the region that you're in. And, you know, being consistent and having a process long-term to make sure that you're following up with these people is ultra important. And I find it really funny that 65% of the leads that are generated never even get a first call. Like, why are people spending money? I see it all the time, like, you know, Zillow leads are garbage, right? And that might be true, but I also know agents that spend $10,000 and $20,000 a month on Google or on Zillow leads because they convert, you know, it's a volume play for them and they have that strategy. So stop wasting money. If you're generating traffic and leads and you don't have a proper system in place, then, you know, a lot of those leads aren't going to be converted and you're just literally lighting that money on fire. So again, hyper focus on the holes that you want to plug and the things that you can actually improve upon. So here's some little fun facts that I put together for you. 80% of all sales in the US actually occur on the 5th through the 12th contact, not 1, not 2, not 3, and not 4, right? I recently was talking to somebody who this was the issue that they were having. They weren't converting their leads. They implemented a long-term text nurture campaign, and it wasn't until like the 8th through like the 15th text message that was going out that these people were even responding, right? So being persistent, and again, we get busy, right? Like I said earlier, like we all have these things, and like, how am I gonna keep reaching out to these people time after time after time? So there is some things that you can do to do that. 7 out of 10 people prefer starting a conversation nowadays via text, instant message, and email. People just don't want to answer their phones. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like a lot of times when I see my phone ring and I'm in the middle of something, like I'm like whatever, right? Like, or like, why doesn't this person just text me? I mean, even my mom, I'll call her and she's like, just text me. I'm like, what the heck? I just wanted to call, right? So if people are wanting to start conversations that way, you should make it part of your system or policy and procedure, is that's how you start the conversation out unless otherwise requested, right? Kind of going into the next one, right? 97% of text messages get opened versus less than 10% of emails. So if you guys think back, right, like 10, 15 years ago, do you guys remember when email was first out? We had those AOL accounts or whatever. We get this email and we couldn't wait to like open it, right? And now we all have hundreds of emails that are typically not read. But then if we think about how many text messages we have that are unread, probably not very many, right? So people are communicating differently now. They're still communicating more than ever, probably way more than ever. They're just using different types of mediums. So you need to make sure that you have a strategy in place. So on top of that, oh, hold on a second here. All right, so moving on into the client experience, right? If we think about us, right, let's not think about our potential prospects or our past customers, right? People are sold in a certain way, right? And it starts off with the awareness stage. And the awareness stage is, you know, basically you're raising your hand or you're trying to get in front of somebody with some of those things that we talked about earlier, mail, right? Facebook, Zillow, whatever. We're trying to raise awareness of our product or service or what it is that we do to be in front of a prospect at the right time to say, hey, this is what we do, right? And hopefully it's something that maybe they want, right? And the awareness stage, if we take like a Facebook ad as an example, you know, we're trying to put this ad in front of people multiple times, right? Throughout a day, throughout a week, throughout a month, throughout a year, so that they are aware of who we are and that we actually exist, right? What we're trying to do from there is we're trying to get them to take the next step into consideration. So yes, I know who you are, but now why should I buy your product? Now why should I use you, right? And the consideration stage is very, very important, because during that process, we need to be constantly reaching out to them and bringing value into their life in order for them to help make an actual decision, which goes into the next, which is, I'm gonna start, yes, I'm sold, I wanna buy this product, I want to use you to buy a home or to sell a home. This is part of your sales funnel. And your sales funnel, both on your marketing side and on your follow-up. And different people, when you're generating leads and traffic, fit into a different category. So your messaging needs to be very specific based upon the segment of the funnel that they're in. So you don't want to be sending somebody who's never heard of you, right, consideration emails and text, right? You don't want to just buy a list and say, hey, use me as a real estate agent, right? You want to be sending them stuff about awareness, like who you are, what you're into, why using you is the right choice. And same thing with the decision makers, right? When people are already at the point of decision maker or at making a decision to work with you, you don't want to, have another just random, newsletter being sent to them from an awareness standpoint. So again, segment out your list, whether it's leads that you're getting, leads that you're generating online, past customers, everybody falls into a funnel, right? So making sure that each one is segmented out and your messaging is specific, because ultimately what you're trying to do is push people through your funnel and get them into this retention stage. So repeat business is so much easier to get, but yet in real estate, it's highly underutilized, right? Less than 20% of people actually wind up using the same agent again. That's crazy. Like, you help somebody make the most important financial decision in somebody's life, or most people, right? And they're not going to use you again. And it's not because they had a bad experience. Like the study that I read from NAR was the agents that helped these people, the people just didn't know where the agents were, right? So again, putting those past customers into a funnel where you can constantly stay top of mind. If you sell somebody a $300,000 house or a $100,000 house or whatever, and they had a good experience, if you're constantly nudging them or just kind of staying out in front of them, not only are you going to get more repeat business, you're going to stay top of mind, and hopefully when they go to buy that next home, you're there. Whereas so many people treat it transactional, right? And like, oh, that's a closing, done, move on to the next, right? Like, there's a lot more business to be had from that one person that you already got into the decision, that you spent pushing through this funnel, than there is having to go out and get the new business. So if there's one thing that you can take away, if you just reach out to your past customers once a quarter, wish them a happy holidays, right? Tell them about some of the things that are going on in springtime in your community. Like, just be in front of them, you're just going to get a lot more business from it. And that relationship that we talked about earlier is just going to be that much stronger, right? So once we've gotten business coming to us, right? We've identified the actual sales process. The next, probably most important part is speed to lead, okay? Speed to lead is very, very important nowadays, especially with people's attention spans at where they are. Lead conversions are 91% higher if you call within a minute of an online, excuse me. If you call within a minute or reach out within a minute or two of the initial inquiry, and then that number diminishes from there, goes down drastically, right? So people's attention spans are shortening. They're just getting less and less and less because we're distracted by phones and social media and push notifications and all of these different things that we're constantly being dragged in different directions. So 1 minute they're online filling out your 36 checklist things that you have to do before you sell your home this spring, and then literally a minute and a half later they're watching cat videos on Facebook, right? Like, we've all been there. We've done something and then like we just go on to something else and they're like, oh yeah, I did fill that out. Think about if you could get to them within 2 or 3 minutes from the time that they filled that out. You got them into the awareness stage, you already got them into the consideration stage, right? Like get on them as quickly as you possibly can because attention spans are going down, right? And you can do that by utilizing kind of this part, which is modernize your marketing and follow-up, right? And here we're talking about a blended campaign. The majority of the LionDesk users are utilizing what's called a blended campaign. Many people are stuck with just doing one thing. And people who don't know what a blended campaign is, don't worry, I'm going to get into that. A blended campaign is a way to reach your customers or prospects utilizing multiple mediums to convey a message in a more meaningful, engaging manner. And you're probably saying, what the hell, what does that mean, right? I'm going to explain it. So ultimately what you're trying to do is you're sending somebody, once you generate a lead or have a relationship, a series of emails, phone calls, video emails, text messages, on or offline marketing, and social media touch points over a period of time. So instead of generating a lead and then just putting them on your email newsletter drip campaign that nobody opens, right? You're putting people into a more complex, unique campaign where you're utilizing different forms of communication to constantly be in front of the people, okay? And that's really important because people communicate differently, right? I communicate a lot more with instant message and texting, right? I know people, who use email, right? People like mail, whatever it winds up being, people just communicate and they're more drawn to different types of communication. So if you can constantly be in front of me, like, oh, I just got an email from you, the next day I get a little text message video from you, a month later I get a little mail piece from you, like you being constantly in front of me is branding, is brand recognition, is a lot of things. And the more that you can do that, the better. There's a reason why Pepsi and Ford Motor Company are running ads in a million different places. They just want to always be in front of you. And that's really what I'm saying. By utilizing a blended campaign, you have tools that are available to you now that you can actually do that with. So here's a little example of a blended campaign, right? And again, remember the process, right? The ACD, right? The awareness, consideration, decision, right? So you want to try to be touching these people or being in front of these people as much as possible. So this is just like, let's just say a 4 or 5 day, maybe even a 6-day campaign, right? So a lead comes in from Facebook or realtor.com. You want to have something that automatically sends them a text message within a minute or two of it coming in, automatically, right? You want that text message to go out and say, hey, I noticed that you filled out that form on Facebook, or I noticed that you were on realtor.com and you want some more information right away. You want to get them, right? And then maybe a day later, you send them a video email. Hey, it's me. There's a reason why a lot of you guys put your faces on your cards, right? A video email just emphasizes that, and you get to take a little bit of a messaging approach as well, right? So sending them a video email. Hey, it's Randy. Again, I sent you a text message yesterday, and I want to see if there's anything that I can do for you. I noticed that you downloaded the first-time homebuyer guide. If there's anything that I can do for you, just respond to me, right? And then the next day after that, having an automated video text message that goes out. Hey, it's Randy again, right? Like this text message shows up in my feed. I look at it, I see your face, and I play the little 20-second video. Boom, right? You're just constantly in front of this person. Then if you want mail to automatically go out, right? You want to follow them on social media, right? Like this all could happen over a week or 2 weeks, but during the beginning stages of that lead, again, if leads are converting on the 5th through the 12th touch point, the more touch points that you can put these people into, the better, right? And then just repeat the process. And this doesn't have to be a new prospect or a lead. You can put a past client on a blended campaign, right? You could put a cold lead on a blended campaign. It doesn't matter, but these campaigns should be constantly be running. They should be kind of like designed and built like robots so that they're just automatically happening, right? So let's review some of the pros and cons of these tactics, and then you guys can choose what works best for you, right? So email is typically a longer, more planned out means of communication. It's effective. Email still absolutely works, but it's certainly hard to stand out amongst the clutter. Like I have that problem every day with my inbox. It's like I'm trying to keep just high important stuff in there and get rid of the garbage. And a lot of times like my emails just back up, and so do yours and so do everybody else's. So it is harder to stand up. and getting those open rates are a little hard, but I'm going to show you some tips in a few minutes how to improve that. Texts are quick and easy. They have a really high open rate right now. It's hard to communicate a really long message via text because everybody hates that text message that comes through and it's like a page and a half, or it comes over in like 4 or 5 texts. If you've all been there, like raise your hand. Yep, we have been there. Not a good thing, but it is easy to stand out, right? People are opening text at a crazy rate right now. And we're going to go over some text stuff here in a minute as well, but it's a great form of communication. Video is perfect for face-to-face, right? Getting a message, getting branding, getting your face in front of your prospects during that awareness, consideration, and decision phase is certainly something that you're going to want to do. Social, easy to connect and learn, hard to get people's attention because it is relatively a noisy place, right? Especially with like Facebook right now. Like, there's your video, the next one it's like an exploding car, the next one it's a political post, the next, it's just like there's tons of stuff going on. You get that squirrel syndrome when you're on social, but there are some things that you can do to kind of stand out from the crowd. The phone data is really interesting. Phone is still one of the very best things that you can do. Pick up the phone and actually have a real conversation with somebody, a meaningful conversation. It's a great way to connect. But these days, it is harder to get people on the phone, right? I don't know about you guys. Like, again, when I'm talking marketing, I'm also talking about stuff that I'm doing, right? And I think when you guys are building your marketing campaigns and your strategies, think about how you engage with people. And if you are putting 75% of your phone calls to voicemail, maybe there's a better way to leverage your time, whether it's getting a virtual assistant or something like that that's actually doing your appointment setting for you, because it is getting harder and harder to get people on the phone. Snail mail, we kind of talked about. It's older, it's expensive, kind of hard to get a click-through rate, but when done right, I think it can be pretty effective, right? So incorporating all of these things into one plan for all of your leads, prospects, past customers is really what we're trying to get out of all of this. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take an in-depth look, and I'm going to give you some advanced techniques and training to kind of improve the process or the likelihood of utilizing some of these different tactics, right? So we're going to start with email, why email subject lines matter and how they can actually improve your success rate, right? You want to stand out from the crowd in an inbox. I'm going to show you a couple things that you can do to help improve your chances. How texting basically will help you convert prospects and leads faster, and why video is going to be the most important form of communication moving forward. Last but not least, we're going to be covering a little bit of short codes. It's a simple way to do really effective lead generation, and it's a very automated process, right? So you can use that on and offline marketing, which we're going to talk about. So first, we're going to go into email strategies, because I think email strategies is something that everybody can benefit from here, because everybody's sending emails out. So the first thing is email open rates are in the gutter, right? Again, I talked about this earlier. 10 years ago, email open rates were 70, 80%. Now they're less than 10, right? So it's kind of a chore for people to manage emails. But remember, when you're writing subject lines, that's the very first thing that people see in their inbox. It's not the message. It's not the well thought out letter that you wrote them in long form in an email. It's that subject line. That subject line is the #1 most important thing that you can do. And I want you to write this down. I always use this for writing subject lines. It's the 4 U's, right? And it's 4 U's, right? You want to have a subject line that is useful, or it's urgent, or it's unique, or it's ultra specific. So when writing a subject line, you want to take that into consideration, because if the subject line is the thing that gets that email opened, that's what you need to spend the most amount of time on. And the first thing is topics that cause curiosity. What you're trying to do is, in an inbox, you're trying to create or pique interest, right? You don't want to give away the farm. What you're trying to do is create curiosity enough where they're like, I'm not going to delete this one, I want to read it. So as an example, like, these are the types of homes that sell 50% faster, and put their subdivision name, right? Or their town or whatever, right? Something that's like really, really specific. If you live in, Orlando, you need to read this right away, right? Something that's going to make them like, all right, this might relate to me. I might want to do that, right? Scarcity and urgency is something that we probably get on the regular. Amazon does it, like everybody does urgency, right? Urgency is just basically stressing that there's something really important, right? Or its time is running out, or there's only 15 left, or whatever it winds up being. So again, an example of scarcity, I'm trying to think here. If you live in Orlando, right? Well, I don't know, that I kind of used that one earlier. I don't know, you guys get it, right? Like, this is something that you need to know that's going on. And I think, again, if you live in Orlando, you need to read this now, right? That creates a sense of urgency. So I think I misused those the way that I want to. Free value add, free is always good. So in your subject line, if you're giving away free coupons, if you're giving away free guides, anything free, people just love free stuff at the end of the day, right? So if there's anything that you can do to promote free or value, and I mean, not necessarily junk, but try to bring value. So if you are going to do something free, right, try to have some type of value in it for the majority of the people, right? Again, like I think digital downloads, right, like freebie stuff is always good. And if you can put that in subject lines, it's going to help you. Next is subjects that communicate social proof. So you guys know how important testimonials are. You're doing testimonials on your Facebook pages, on Zillow, on your websites, right? Social proof is a really good thing to do. So if you can communicate social proof to people, they're more likely to read that. So as an example, Brian didn't think that he could afford a home in this town, but he can because of this. Read his story, right? Or read Brian's story. Never thought that he could qualify for a home, but he did, right? So utilizing social proof and then telling Brian's story is something that's really good. Or maybe just the message that Brian has. Read a testimonial from local guy who moves from one part of Florida to another, right? Testimonials are always a good thing. Authority and expertise is another thing. So again, these are all subject lines. So when you're writing these subject lines, you're trying to emphasize these little micro moments to get people's curiosity to open these emails, right? So anything that you can demonstrate authority or expertise, like why you're so good in this subdivision. I know one woman in California, she sold like 300 homes over the last 7 or 8 years, and she just focuses in on it's like a 2-by-2 mile radius in these 2 subdivisions, and that's it. She is like the expert in that area. Announcements and events. I mean, as a real estate agent, you are in the community and you want to promote events and things that are going on. So like if you have a list of all of the spring events that are happening in your town, write in the subject line, here's a list of everything you need to do in Winter Garden this spring, right? Or whatever. That's a really good way. And then story teasers, which kind of ties into some of the social proof, telling Brian's story about why he couldn't, right? Stories are always a good thing. That's why we read books. That's why we watch movies, right? Like stories are just a great way to sell. So keep that in mind, right? All right. So those are some strategies that you can use to get your email open rates up, right? Communicate message, demonstrate value, and hopefully improve your chances when communicating with email, even though we know that it is harder to get emails to open. The next thing that we're going to go in is take a deeper dive into advanced texting strategies, right? So we're going to talk about utilizing some ideas to get better responses faster, right? So we already talked about the effectiveness of it and the difference of the open rates, but the next thing is utilizing text to just generate more business and convert leads faster. And persistence is probably one of the most key things, right? Being persistent is really, really important when texting. Don't be annoying. You don't have to text people 17 times in a day, right? They're instantly going to block you or, put you into, do not call list or whatever. Just be persistent. There's nothing wrong with poking people via a text message, and it's a great thing that you can do. Next is, it's a text, it's not an email. So keep it short, right? Like hey, Amy, did you see the open house or did you see the house that just sold in your neighborhood, right? Text message is meant to be short and like little fragments, right? So you want to keep it that way. Again, I mentioned this earlier, you don't want to write people a 10-page text message. Playful and using emojis. I find a lot of people who use like us and who do a lot of text message marketing, they use a lot of emojis. Like people have conversations with emojis. I don't understand the language of emoji. I'm not well versed in it. I get it, but people love emojis. So when you're having a communication with somebody via text message, be playful, right? So again, going back to that example, hey, Sally, did you see the house that just sold in your neighborhood? Can you believe what it went for? Winky smiley face, right? Or, thanks for getting back to me, thumbs up, right? Or if you're trying to spark a conversation, question mark, winky face emoji. You'd be amazed by that curiosity play and playfulness that you can send via text message, how many people actually will respond to you. Sparking curiosity, I kind of went through some of these things earlier, but you get the point, right? Like you want to try to get somebody to respond to you, especially when it's a new lead or a prospect, right? You're also able to send clickable links via text messages. So a lot of people want to drive you to a certain place. Maybe you did a video on YouTube about all those spring events and you want to send them the video. Say, hey, check out this video that I just did about all the local events that are happening in Winter Garden this spring for kids, right? It's a clickable link. So me as the consumer, if you text that to me, I don't have to do anything other than click that link, and now I'm on the page that you want me to go to, again, to get more awareness or to make a decision or to get more comfortable, right? You can send clickable links through text messaging, right? Even if it's scheduling a calendar. So for those of you guys who use apps like Calendly to schedule your calendar, like, hey, if you have time this week, here's my calendar, just click on the link and pick a time that works for you. Sending clickable links is a really great way to drive low cost traffic to the destination that you want to. Lastly, in the text messaging part, make sure that the things that you're doing are easily answerable, right? Like you don't want somebody's life story in a text message. Is Monday or Tuesday a good day to meet? Question mark, right? Like whatever you're doing in text messaging, again, you want to keep it short and sweet and easy, and not make it a chore on somebody, okay? All right, moving on. So we covered email, or we covered the funnel, we covered email, we covered some of the text messaging, and now we're going to get into video. This is one of the areas that I feel is one of the biggest opportunities right now, just because of the statistics alone. Here are some stats for you, and I'm not going to go through all of them. Maybe I will, I don't know. 37% of time spent online nowadays is watching videos. So if you think about video nowadays, it's crazy. Like just Facebook in the last 5 or 6 years, and Facebook's still a baby if you think about it. It's like 10 years old. Where Facebook started to where it is today, if we go to Facebook now on our mobile device, because that's where most of it's being accessed, it's like video, picture, video, picture. We go to websites, there's videos on there. YouTube, there's all of these different things. Like everything is turning to video. And if you guys, the quicker that you adapt and realize that video is the true opportunity and where everything's going, the better off you're going to be. Like these phone companies, Apple and Samsung, they literally put the television and the remote in the palm of our hand that we have every single day, called our cell phone, right? And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make this into literally the television, the entertainment device, the work device. Everything is at the palm of your hands, and everything is video, is going in video. 67% of people prefer watching video over reading text message, or versus reading text, I'm sorry. The retention rate is much higher. So 95% of people retain when watching versus 10% if it were read. I mean, I read books all the time, and I also, binge out on some Netflix shows just like everybody else. And I wish that the books that I read, I could retain as much as I do watching an episode of Game of Thrones or House of Cards or something of that nature. And it's true. People just have a better retention. They remember things better when they watch it, because most people are visual learners versus analog or kinesthetic, which is a completely different topic. So if you can convey messaging and branding via video, you're better off. 80% of traffic by 2019, which is not too far away, of all of that will be driven by video, which is really, really interesting even to me. I think that there's some things that I want to do to make improvements here, because more people are watching videos. When I put videos on Instagram and Facebook, I'm amazed at the actual views that they get. When I first started out doing it, I was a little scared. I was definitely really scared, and I was like, I didn't really know how it would be. And the first video that I put out a few years back, it was just like, I don't know, maybe it was like 2 minutes, and like 7 people watched it. And then the following week I looked at it, it was like 27 people watched it. And over the course of about a month and a half, there was like 250 views, not a lot. And I was a little bit down on it, and I just didn't know. And I was like, man, is this really working? And then my business colleague said, you know how long it would have taken you to talk to 250 people? And like, that was the light bulb for me, right? I was like, you're right. Like, the actual amount of people that can watch a video, because it lives forever unless you delete it, right? So if that's where traffic is going to be coming from, the more videos that you can have out there, the better. 65% of people communicate via video, more likely to establish a better connection. So when people are seeing your face, they're communicating with you via face, they just make a better connection. You know who you're actually talking with. You see that face, the familiar face. You can't afford not to be doing video marketing in 2018, 2019. That's where everything online is going. So you got to do it. All right. So in using video to help make a bigger impact on your business, that's ultimately what you're trying to do. You're trying to apply leverage by using video. You can convey a message that can be seen 15 times to 1,000,000 times. And you're trying to leverage that to get your message and your brand and you in front of people. I have a friend of mine who has he left a franchise, started his own small brokerage in Southern California, and he does these lifestyle videos. And he gets like 150, 250, 300,000 views on these videos, and it's all about the community. And he spends, I think it's around $1,000 to make a video, and these videos are getting tens of thousands of views, and they're seeing his branding on it, and then people are sharing it, and it's just generating so much business because he understands that you can leverage video at scale to the masses to get it in front of people. Okay. You can also utilize that video again to give it that personal touch and feel. So not only is it your brand, it's your face, it's you talking, and again, that goes into branding. So kind of like all of this stuff together is ultimately what makes up the power of video. Right? So you don't have to write 67 emails to all of the people, in your sphere. You can make a video that says, hey, it's Randy. I just want to let you know that I just closed on a house, in this neighborhood, and we have a new listing coming up right down the street, and we're going to have an open house next week, and blast it out. You don't have to write 67 different emails. You can do one video and people will watch it. So, you just got to get started. That's the most important thing. And if you think about video, like if you just get started, a lot of people, and I'm the same way, you're worried about how you look and how you sound and how like all of these different things, and it has to be perfect. The more authentic the video is, I think the better engagement that it has. It doesn't have to be this well-scripted, high-produced video, right? It can just be you doing a selfie. And I think the more and more that you do it, the better you're actually going to become. And that's what I mean by just getting started. Your friends, your family, all these people, they know like what you look like, what you sound like, right? Like stop being so self-conscious of it. Just get out there and do it, and you will be amazed. And every time that you do it, you will get a little bit better and better and better and better, right? Like I was at a Tom Ferry coaching event, and I was talking to a friend of mine there who was originally in their coaching years ago, and they wound up being a coach, and that's what she told me. She says that her little handheld videos produce 10 times better than her well-produced videos. And she says, she's like, I think that people just think that I'm real, right? It's not scripted. If you say, if you say right, you know, if you look down for, you know what I mean? Like that authentic feel seemed to produce much better results for her. So, you know, just get started using video. It's really important. The short code section. So we went, let's see, we went email, we went text message, we went video, and now we're into short codes. For those of you guys who don't know what short codes are, these are like text to cell numbers, right? So it's text 555 to, you know, 1-800 sell a house, right? Or whatever, right? This is a really fun, awesome way to generate good quality leads when you're doing otherwise hard to track marketing. So to walk you through the process, right, real quick. So consumer attention, let's just role play for a second. And I drive, I'm in the car, I got my family, I drive past your listing, and you have those little sign or those little flyers in the box, right? And I don't know, maybe it's raining out. I get out of the car, I go get it, I look at it, maybe the ink's a little bit matte or a little bit smeared, I can't read it, I put it on the floor, right? Or I even take it, look at it, I put it on the floor. I drove by, you got my attention by having that sign in the yard. I looked at it, but that's all that happened, right? You got nothing out of me driving by. However, if you used a text to cell number, I drive by, it says text 123 Main Street to 1-800 sell home, right? To get a video walk through the property. I'm in my car, I text the number, I instantly get a video walkthrough and an e-flyer right to my cell phone. I never get out of the car. I don't have to worry about the flyers being gone or ruined or anything. And this is just an example, right? From there, I look at the video walkthrough, which I otherwise wouldn't have got. And maybe that it's got such a cool kitchen and I'm a chef and whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'm interested or I'm not interested. But what it does for you is it generates a lead. So I was driving by, and if I take that flyer out, you got nothing. However, if I use text to cell codes, I'm actually going to get a lead from that. I am now your lead, which you can then put me on a blended campaign, right? So because I texted that number, I got the delivery from you, right? Which was the video or whatever, or even the little e-flyer. And then from there, you can actually follow up. So here is a way to utilize marketing that you're probably doing that's really hard to gauge. And you're able to generate really good leads from it, if that makes sense to you guys. You can do this with on or offline marketing. So you could put this on the back of a grocery cart. Maybe you buy, you know, $1,000 worth of coupons at your local Whole Foods, and you know you can put the little advertisements on the back of the cart, right? Your face, and says, hey, text Whole Food or food to 1-800 sell home and get a 10% off coupon today, right? I'm pushing the cart. I got my 3-year-old, he's going bananas in the thing, you know, I'm like, all right, 10% off, and I'm gonna get that, and now I'm a lead. You still gotta put me through your sales funnel, right? But at the end of the day, that's a way to utilize offline marketing. You can do the same thing with online marketing, the exact same way. It's just a really fun, easy way to generate better leads from marketing that's otherwise hard to track, or messaging that you automatically want to deliver to people. So text to cell codes, short codes, stuff like that, a really good thing to be utilizing. Okay, so those were some of the advanced tips that I wanted to get you guys through. I hope you guys learned some stuff from there. We got some more stuff to go through here. We're gonna wrap it up here shortly, but mobility. So anything that you guys do needs to be mobile, right? Whether it's the programs that you use, the emails that you sent, the websites that you buy, everything that you need needs to be mobile friendly. I can't emphasize that enough. The PC growth trends are they're just going down and down and down, and mobile devices and tablets and things like that are going up and up and up. If you don't have websites, if you don't have emails, if you don't have video, things like that are mobile responsive, you are definitely missing the boat for sure. Everything is going mobile. So again, when we're talking about taking steps, maybe this is your first thing, is having a mobile responsive site, right? And a mobile responsive email string. Like, making sure that your stuff is mobile is something that I cannot emphasize enough right now. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about deploying the actual strategy. And a strategy doesn't have to be the whole entire roadmap. It can be little pieces, right? And we can start with just doing one thing. But first and foremost in your strategy, or when creating your business plan or your roadmap, is getting everything organized. I meet with agents literally day in and day out, and getting organized is one of the biggest challenges that they have. They have things in a million different places, a million different systems, and that's really what you need to focus on first. If I am going to deploy video, right, or video messaging, how am I going to do it? What am I going to do? Where are my contacts, right? Getting all of that stuff organized. From there, once I have the information organized, then I need to develop and create a plan. So I'm going to take all of my past customers, we're starting with just one thing, and I'm going to send them a quarterly text message. So I pull all of my past customers, I put them into a database or a CRM, right? And from there, I'm going to set up that I have a reminder to send all of these people a text message once a quarter just to stay in front of them. That's as simple as it needs to be, right? From there, identifying tactics and systems. So again, we kind of did the tactics part because we said that we're going to utilize video, and having the right system to do that. So do you have a system that can send a video email to people, right? Do you have those contacts that are there? Can it be combined into one? From there, you start building it, right? So you have your stuff organized, you have your plan, you have your systems, your tactics, you can start building that thing, and you're going to be testing it, and you're going to be trying things on yourself. And then from there, once you've tested, you've tried, you are happy with the process that you've put up, then it's all about implementation, right? You're going to try it, and nothing works every time, nothing. Right? So it's going to be a constant slight shift and pivot and things like that. And then you're going to start to see improvements, and then you're going to start to see things actually yield, right? So going through this process, it doesn't have to be hard. Again, at the beginning of this, I said, if you guys just get one thing out of this, like, I'm happy, right? Like, just doing more of one little thing can make a significant impact in your actual business. Now, where automation comes in is kind of everywhere, right? If we think about automation, I mean, it is taking the place of jobs, right? But it's also giving people more time, and more time is something that you don't have enough of. And we talked about that in the very, very beginning, is people just don't have enough time. There's a lot of things that you can do to automate. And automation is all around us, from the cars that we drive to Uber to Amazon. Like, all kinds of things are being automated. And so can sections and elements of your business. Relationships are still a very important thing, right? But a lot of this stuff that we've talked about today can be automated. Marketing can be automated. Follow-up can be automated. Task management, lead management, reporting, all of these things can be automated. And if you're going to get 15 to 20 minutes back from each one of these little pieces that you automate, even if it takes you an hour to build each one of these pieces, right? So if we just take these 5, let's just say it takes 2 hours to build each one of these segments, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 hours in invested time. But moving forward, if all of your leads that are coming in are automatically getting marketed to and being followed up with, and making sure that you're doing the tasks, right? Doing these things for you, you're freeing up a ton of extra time. You're applying leverage to technology in order to allow you to stay focused on revenue generating activities. And that's ultimately where you want to be. It's never been easier for a real estate agent to close 50 transactions a year or 100 transactions a year. I meet these people every day. They impress me. They're amazing, right? And it's because they've applied leverage. Right? They've applied technologies that take them out of doing all of this stuff. I'm gonna tell you a story here. I had a conversation with a lady who'd been in the business for like 37 or 40, it was like 40 years. And before I even started talking, I just said, listen, I want you to tell me, how was it when you first got in the business? What was a top producer like? And she walked me through it, and she was like, this was before even the MLS book or the listing book, right? And she said, like, a top producer back then was closing 5 deals or 6 deals a year or something like that. It was crazy. And she's like, we would actually get a listing, and then we would actually have to go present, right? And it's just crazy. Like, that wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, technology has taken us so far, and we've learned these technologies. We've learned how to go from the MLS book to using online MLS to doing digital signatures online. We can learn anything, right? But automation, it will just I mean, take your business to a whole new level. And there's a lot of busy work that you guys are stuck doing when it comes to automation. So try to automate some of the pieces of your business. Some key takeaways. We're going to wrap it up here. You guys just get started, pick one thing and get started on doing it. Even, I know that everybody on this call, you took the time out of your day, and I really appreciate that. But just getting started, applying a little new tactics and little things every day will certainly help, right? Having a good system in plan, creating that roadmap is going to help. Making sure that you're following up more. I gave you some of the stats on the follow-up. Again, if that's just your one thing that you take from this, you're generating leads right now, you're doing great. Try following up 5 times or 7 times, right? Maybe that's just your one thing, but you will get more business from following up more. I highly recommend utilizing a blended approach. I think it's a fantastic way. I see people being very, very successful using blended campaigns versus the traditional like email newsletter drips that you see out there, right? So creating a blended campaign, again, let's just say it's emails and text. You're just going to do that. That's going to be your goal for 2018. I'm just going to start doing email, text, email, text, email, text, right? One after another, and utilizing a blended approach. And last but not least, automate and systematize. If you really want to grow your business to a certain level, to a certain skill set, to whatever your GCI goals are, right? Like automate and systematize, automate and systematize. That's why these companies have these crazy valuations and they're so valuable. It's not because of the product necessarily, it's because of the systems and the automation pieces that they put into it that they can grow at scale, right? So automate and systematize. There's a lot of programs out there. Again, that's what we do, right? We are on the sales and marketing and follow-up side at LionDesk, but there are a lot of tools that can help you that will take your business to the next level. So I want to thank you guys. I'm going to go through some questions. There's a ton of them in there. If you want to learn anything else about LionDesk, you can visit us at liondesk.com. We have an Instagram page. We have a Facebook page. You can follow us on YouTube. We got videos that we put out. And I know that the Florida Realtors have a special offer. We are one of their partners. So for any of you who want to try out the system, you can use the special code FAR2018. And you can try LionDesk out. We have sales and marketing and follow-up. We have video, email, text messaging, all of that stuff. It's a 20% discount, and it's only $25 a month, okay? The whole program, relatively inexpensive, but you get a lot of the stuff that we covered today all in one platform. So again, thank you guys for your time. I'm going to put my webcam back up so that you guys can see my face. And I am going to answer some questions that were asked, or I'm going to try my best to get this. So let me open up my question box here. Okay. Can you repeat the 4 U's? Yes. What was it? Yeah, unique. Let me see here. Unique, ultra specific, useful, and urgency. That was that. I thought we were going to talk and going to see how the CRM works. I would love to show you guys how the CRM works. That's actually not what Florida Realtors wanted me to do. They didn't want it to be a product demo. This was just bringing you guys value. That's what it was initially designed to do. We have webinars available on our YouTube channel, on our website. There's a lot of different places that you can see it. Again, you can email me if you want to see a demo. All of my brokers, if you want to see it, let me know. I will personally actually walk you through the system. We do have a lot of demos that you guys can join. I'm sorry if that's what you thought that this was. I would like to do that. Let me see here. What else do we got? The name of the calendar app is Calendy, C-A-L-E-N-D-Y. So if you guys want an integrated calendar system that will automatically link to your Google account or your Outlook, where you can send a link out where people can see your calendar and schedule appointments with you, Calendy is a great one. I know that there's a handful of other ones out there as well. but Calendly is certainly a good one. Let me see here. The price and the promotion. Will there be a recording? Yes, there will be a recording. There will be a recording. It will be sent out to you guys. For those of you who want a copy of the video, I will send the recorded version out to you guys. The people, let's see here, I will send a recorded version out to all of you guys. The promotion, again, I already talked about. And for those of you who wanted to see a demo, again, that wasn't what was asked of me from the Florida Realtors. So I wanted to do a value add webinar for you. Scripts. So we have in the system, inside of LionDesk, there's over 1,700 drip campaigns, blended campaigns, text messages in the actual marketing section. Those are free for you guys to use. The LionDesk system is set up so it's basically turnkey other than importing your contacts. 1,700 marketing drip campaigns, emails, transaction management plans, those are all in there for your guys' use. You can use any of the stuff. You can take the stuff. You can modify it, but there is a ton of marketing content available for you guys. Can we get a copy? Yes, you can. Let's see here. Send me a copy. For your brokers out there, again, just email me. Here's my information. Do we provide leads? We actually do not provide leads. So one thing that is unique about LionDesk is we don't try to do everything. We try to do one or two things really, really good. And that's the sales, marketing, and follow-up tools for sales professionals. Now, the other huge thing that we do is we connect to other third-party best-in-class services, all right? So third-party best-in-class services, meaning websites, meaning lead sources. We connect to Facebook. We connect to all of these other things so that you, the agent, you, the broker, can choose and pick your technology stack based upon the tools that work for you. So you don't have to conform to using our website or using our lead forms. All of these different things can plug and play a lot like Legos into the actual system. We do have a lot of people who use Commissions Inc., who use Boomtown. They use those sites as lead generation sites, and some of those sites do have a light CRM for lead management. So what happens is those leads will then come into LionDesk, as well as their offline marketing, their online marketing, their past. So all of these different things kind of funnel into LionDesk, and LionDesk actually operates as the hub of your business. We are compatible with a power dialer. We have our own dialer. It's a single line dialer that you can get from within the system. That is an a la carte item, but if you do want to do power dialing, we do have that capability from within the application. Perfect, perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay. Well, I think that's it, you guys. Again, I want to thank you guys for the time. For those of you guys who want a deeper dive into LionDesk, again, there's a 30-day free trial, no credit card required. I can put that other, let me see here, that code back up, FAR 2018. So when you do decide to buy, it's 20% off. And again, you can contact us directly for an actual walkthrough product tutorial. This was a value add webinar for all of the members. This wasn't specifically about the LionDesk actual CRM. Those are available. So again, I want to thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it. And if there's anything that we can do for you, please reach out to us, and we'll help you any possible way that we can, okay? So I want to thank you guys and have a great afternoon.